Officers could see one of the mothers sleeping on a couch through this window, but they say she was so passed out they knocked on this window several times but couldn't wake her. So eventually they had to go inside.
People were frantically running down the street trying to get away from this area as they heard gunshots. What happened from there is tonight's LEX 18 Big Story at 6. Well, I am walking up what used to be a section of this lane here on Kentucky 292, but as you can see, this entire section of this highway has completely collapsed down into this riverbank. Now, just to show you how that's translating at the pump, I've got to show you this. One unlucky driver here had to spend nearly 92
Well, many hours after this fire here in Olive Hill was contained, smoke continues to pour here from the charred remains. Hot spots continue to burn. This fire so intense, it caused this entire section of the building here to completely collapse.
I was in our newsroom when these first calls started to come out, and you could hear in the voices of these first responders just how frantic they were as they were rushing to head to the scene.
Terrifying moments for this Kentucky Department of Transportation driver as he somehow lost control and then flipped all the way down this 35-foot embankment. There was one firefighter that was actually here at the station when the storm hit. He had to come here into the bathroom and crouch down right here in this spot. There was a sink right here. He was underneath that and was able to luckily survive.
About the breaking news we've been following in Lexington.
That's where shots have been fired in the area of Woodhill and New Circle. Jeff Allen joins us live with the breaking details.
Yeah, guys, a really scary afternoon out here on New Circle Road. We're between Richmond Road and Liberty Road, right on the edge of Quantrill Cadillac's car lot here. A very scary afternoon as people describe two cars shooting at each other. Now, let's go to some video we shot earlier. Now, several witnesses say they saw these two cars shooting at each other right at the intersection of Young Drive and New Circle Road. That's where they say a tan mid-90s Ford Taurus, a passenger, got out of that car and then started shooting into the window of a Honda CR-V, a dark-colored Honda CR-V. Another witness also describes a man with a bat that was beating out the windows of that car. Now, eventually those cars made their way out of here, and police are still looking for them. Now, one man that was here on the car lot, he saw everything. He was taking pictures for the dealership.
I heard 5 or 6 gunshots and looked up, and I saw a gold Taurus. It was parked, of course, right there where I could see it right in front of me. And I saw a guy jump out with a baseball bat. It was already after the gunshots. I didn't see the guy with the gun, but I saw the guy with the baseball bat jump out and run up to the car. And I didn't actually see him hit the glass. The detail guy said they saw the glass bust, but evidently he busted out the glass. The other guy with the gun shot in the front window.
Now, that witness you heard from there describes these cars going off in 2 different directions here on New Circle Road. And at this point, police are still looking for these cars. And at this point, they're closely monitoring any reports from UK Hospital about possible gunshot victims arriving there because they believe someone was very definitely shot and possibly seriously injured in this. We'll have much more on this coming up later tonight. But for now, we're covering the news in Lexington.
Most of these men and women have never even met before, but they've shared the bond of war for decades, and now together, more than 100 veterans from the Bluegrass
I think it's great that we can do this.
are making their way to Washington, D.C. With just a fraction of World War II veterans still living,
Who are at the end of our lives.
it's a race against time
It's the last hurrah for a lot of us.
to visit the memorial dedicated in their honor.
We reach the age of the dropping off point.
And thank you for your service. I think you're going to have a great visit.
Greeted at every stop along the way, the veterans make their way to the World War II Memorial in D.C. Opened just 7 years ago, it's designed to pay tribute to the service and sacrifice
We thank you to those that didn't make it.
of all those that fought and many who never made it back home to Kentucky.
Think about it, a lot of them ought to be here, can't be here.
James Toomey, known as Tiptoe, made the trip here with help from another veteran from Harrodsburg, Jeff McChrystal. He served in Iraq.
It's really emotional for me. Of course, they warned us it would be, and it is.
For some vets, it's taken them back to a dark place in their lives. My grandfather, Harold Roberts, was also on the flight. He fought in the Normandy invasion. It's a part of his life not often talked about.
But you just hope it don't bring back memories.
Painful memories
It's hard to think of those things.
that the memorial is now helping them come to terms with.
Had a wonderful marriage and family, and I'm thankful that I could do that. And I regret that others could not.
And salute!
And then, at the end of a long day, they were greeted with hundreds of people back in Kentucky for a hero's welcome home.
I don't think I could ever be that brave or courageous, and I just really appreciate everything that they did and putting their lives on hold so that we could live ours.
More than a week later, here in East Bernstadt, tons of debris all over the place. A reminder that it's going to be a while before this area gets back to any sort of sense of normal. But as progress and signs of recovery are slow, they are sure, as hundreds, even close to 1,000 people were in this area today to help out. Bit by bit,
it's just a slow process.
There are slow signs of hope.
Each day seems to be getting a little bit better.
Today, a new roof for Jewel and Mike Cook's home, one of the few still standing in their neighborhood.
The words just can't express how thankful we are.
Thankful for people like Chuck White from Somerset.
We weren't affected by the storm, but these people were, and so we're here to help them. And so we're doing the best that we can.
He's one of about 1,000 volunteers that came out to help today.
They had so many people that almost didn't know what to do with them. So that's a good problem to have when you got a disaster like this.
Busloads of volunteers came from all over.
Everybody just seems to be chipping in, doing whatever they can do, and a lot of good's happening.
That's what is getting us through this and helping us to rebuild.
Bit by bit, one step at a time. Covering the news in Laurel County, Jeff Allen, LEX 18 News.
He had a spirit that was bigger than he was.
And that spirit bled blue.
He was right up there as one of UK's best fans.
Stephen Moio's mother and close friends still have so many questions about why Moio was left lying in the middle of Highway 460 in the middle of the night last July 2nd with severe head trauma, near death.
Like the case has gone cold, and in my heart I'll never be satisfied with that.
But today they want to remember his love for the cats.
O-C-A-T-S, cats, cats, cats.
This was Moio after one of UK's big NCAA tournament wins last year.
C-A-T-S, cats, cats, cats.
For those left behind, game days are tough.
You know, try to call him to see if he wants to come watch a game, and I still do it out of habit from time to time. So
we get cold chills during the game because we can just hear him getting out of the chair and rooting and jumping to the ceiling and hollering yes and go.
Stephen dreamed of walking on for Kentucky one day, and now his mother believes when games get tight and they look up to Stephen for help.
But when the games get close, we all just kind of stop and say, okay, Stephen, you know, join them on the court. Instead of angels in the outfield, we got angels on the court. Come on.
He steps in and gets what he always wished for. Covering the news in Bourbon County, Jeff Allen, LEX 18 News. Say 47-year-old Stanley Neese began a 45-minute rampage through this Mount Carmel trailer park. Cheyenne Strong was right in the middle of it.
Because Stanley said if I didn't open the door, then he was going to shoot us. So I opened the door. I told him not to shoot me. He said, I'm not going to shoot you.
But Strong says Neese went on to shoot and kill her mother, grandmother, and 3 others. It's something the 11-year-old says still doesn't seem real.
I still don't believe that they're dead. I think they're still alive. That's what my mind hasn't came to the thought that they're dead yet.
Timothy Martin says Neese, wearing pajamas and a pocket full of ammunition, made him watch as he then shot 2 of his cousins in cold blood.
He told me to walk up through the highway with him and I never did. He shot all the family and stuff like that, and he told me to go out in the street and have fun and play with my friends.
Neighbors say Neese had been making threats about doing something on September 11th after his wife, Sandra Neese, said she wanted to get a divorce.
He said, you ain't getting no divorce, that if I can't have you, nobody's gonna have you like that.
Cheyenne Strong says the anger spilled over Saturday morning when Neese took some orange juice meant for her.
My granny got mad at him and she took it from him, and then the next thing I know, he's running down the hallway with a gun.
Timothy Martin says it's a miracle he and several others who had to dodge bullets were able to survive.
I'm glad that I'm alive, and I'm glad that God was over top of me.